Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for joining us on the media briefing for this Wednesday. We're going to shake up the lineup a little bit. So Katie and Kelly, I hope I'm not catching you too far off guard. I'm hoping you can start today, and then our presenters from Department of Social Services can go second. So Katie, can we get you to step up first? Surprise!
Always stay on your toes. Thank you very much. We're very happy to be here once again. Thank you for the invitation. Greetings, everybody. My name is Katie Castagna. I'm the president and CEO for United Way Monterey County. And I'm joined today with my colleague, Kelly DeWolf, who is the impact manager over affordable housing here at United Way and is overseeing our emergency rent and assistance program. So we will be sharing, I will share my screen, and we will be sharing some updates with you, both a review of the program and the eligibility and the structure of it, and information about how people can participate or apply. We want to make sure we're getting this benefit out as widely as possible. And then also a brief update on our results to date. So just as a recap, the Emergency Rent and Utility Assistance Program is a result of state and federal recovery money that has been allocated and designated through the County of Monterey, totaling over $28 million to be spent here in support of low-income families who have been affected by COVID and need help with back rent, current rent, and utility bill payments. So the process that we have set up leverages our 211 information and referral system as one point of entry. We know people have been calling us for years needing help with their rent. And so currently people can actually apply through 211 and talk to a call center specialist about that process. So we have an additional point of entry currently that has been set up so that people can apply directly online through one of our web portals. We have web address in Spanish and English, mcrenthelp.com and mcayudaderenta.com, and you can go there to see the application and more information about the program. Either entry point will bring the applicant into a coordinated, centralized enrollment system. And we at United Way are really in that coordinating and facilitating role. We are working with now 14 agency partners who are helping to administer the benefits. And so once the application is received, as part of that application, we would assign it to one of our participating partners. And then the applicant would work directly with that partner to provide the documents required and receive the assistance directly. So now I'm going to turn this over to Kelly DeWolf, who can take you through some more details of the program.
Thank you, Katie. So if you want to move to the next slide.
Oh, and I'm driving, hang on.
So this is a list of our participating partners that Katie mentioned. We are working with 7 jurisdictions throughout Monterey County who are serving residents within their city boundaries, including the South County cities of Gonzales, Greenfield, King City, and Soledad. We're also working with City of Salinas, Seaside, and Monterey. In addition to those jurisdictions, we're also working with 3 nonprofit agencies who are serving all zip codes in Monterey County: Goodwill Central Coast Energy Services, and Salvation Army. And in addition to the nonprofits, we have Hartnell College Foundation, who's serving all zip codes in Monterey County. And we're also excited to be working with Monterey Peninsula College Foundation, who's serving Monterey Peninsula College students. And because we understand that North County residents are facing a huge need for rent assistance, we have decided to work with North Monterey County Recreation and Park District, who is collaborating with Castroville Coalition and the Castro Plaza Family Resource Center in order to screen and refer our North County residents. And then finally, we have brought on the Housing Resource Center of Monterey County, who will be accepting very soon landlord applications directly from landlords and property management companies to apply directly on behalf of their tenants for assistance. So if you can go to the next slide. I just wanted to talk a little bit about the eligibility requirements for this program. There are 3 main eligibility requirements, and one thing I did want to mention is that many of you may have seen information about the statewide Housing is Key program. Obviously, Monterey County has elected to administer their rent assistance program locally with United Way. So this is kind of a portion of that program, but it is separate from that program. Any Monterey County resident does need to apply for the state program through us at Monterey County, United Way Monterey County. They cannot apply through the Housing is Key program. So of course, residents must be within Monterey County to be eligible for the program. Assistance is limited to applicants who have lost employment or income or incurred some sort of significant financial cost due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Their family's annual income also must not exceed 80% of the area median income as determined by HUD, which you can see here on this table. And we are prioritizing families who are facing unemployment, homelessness, and at 50% AMI and below. In terms of the benefits that our applicants can receive, the state allows for up to 12 months of assistance in back rent to be covered fully between the dates of April 1st, 2020 and March 31st of 2021. And in this case, fully means that we through the program will cover 80% of that past due rent between that time period. And the landlord is mandated by the state to forgive the remaining 20%. So that cannot be fundraised or provided from another source, including the tenant themselves. That does need to be forgiven. Any additional rent beyond that time period, so April, May, June, and beyond, applicants can receive up to 3 months of assistance paid at 25%. We can also cover utility bills, again, through the same time period and up to 3 months past that time period, paid at 100% directly to the utility companies, and the eligible utilities include water, sewer, trash, electric, gas, and internet. And then if you can go to the next slide, we can also talk a little bit about our results so far. So this is results reported through the 9th of May. The total applications that we've received so far is 2,650. We've had many applications received both through our online portal and through 211 call center. Of those applications, about 868 have been processed, and of those, 309 have been paid out. The total funds expended is close to $1 million. This is potentially slightly below the actuals because we have agencies who are constantly entering new payments into the system. But the last number there that we have is our total funds obligated, and the total funds obligated just reflects 80% of the total amount owed by current eligible but unpaid applicants. So we're seeing that at just over 10 million of funds owed to our applicants that are currently eligible and waiting for assistance from the program and have not yet been paid. We're seeing our average assistance payment so far as being just under $3,000 per household, and that's a combination of rent and utilities. So it's going to vary depending on the client and whether or not they're applying for rent or utility assistance. And we do expect, as we move forward with the program, just given the large amount of back rent that's owed, that number will most likely increase. You can go to the next slide. Just wanted to also just talk about some successes and challenges so far. In terms of challenges, I I'm sure from the last slide, it's clear that we still have a lot of folks who are waiting to receive their assistance. The reason for this is largely because this program requires quite a lot of case management. It's not as simple as simply collecting the documentation and paying the landlord or utility company. A lot of times there is significant back and forth between the agency and the landlords, the agency and the tenant, and also sometimes our participating agencies do have to deal with legal concerns on behalf of either the landlords or the tenants, and that makes the process go on for quite a bit longer in that case. We also have had a lot of changes as the program kind of rolls out and as the state continues to address more of the detailed concerns and compliance issues. We've had some changes in documentation that have taken some time as well. So our agencies are working very hard and as quickly as they can to process these applications, but the time frame that our applicants are looking at is really going to depend on which agency they're working with and how large of a caseload that agency has. However, we've seen quite a few success stories so far already coming through. This program has really provided a much needed stress relief and relief of financial burden for so many of our residents, not only low income residents of Monterey County, but also small landlords who are really depending on that rental income, and even small business owners. We've had actually several small business owners who have applied who are struggling to make ends meet due to a closing of their business during the COVID pandemic. We've seen applications from educators, hospitality workers, parents, all sorts of different residents in our county who have been affected by this pandemic. So it's really great to see that not only that funding can help those folks in the community, but for many has actually prevented homelessness and secured their housing for the foreseeable future. So that's been really great to see, and we're happy that we're hoping that we can continue with that. So if there's any questions, we'd be happy to answer, either Katie or myself.
And I just want to chime in again, reiterating, we know that there is a backlog. Obviously, there's been huge demand, and we are just asking that our residents and landlords be patient, knowing that help is on the way. If we have received an application, it is definitely in the queue, and we're working with our partner organizations to try and expedite as much as possible.
And the backlog shouldn't prevent anyone from thinking, gosh, I shouldn't apply. They should go, just go ahead and apply if they need the help.
Please
Absolutely.
apply. Yes, absolutely.
And I am impressed by the fact that this is one of the few situations where there is an abundant amount of resource. So, as Kelly said, top line, if we pay out all of what we know about so far in the pipeline, we're at $10 million. We know we have a lot more than that. So please do apply, and please help us spread the word to folks that may not know about it.
All right, thank you both. And if you would stay on for questions after our other presenter, I'd appreciate it. Thanks very much. And now we're going to turn to our other topic, which is the Community Action Plan. And we're pleased to have people from the Department of Social Services here to talk with us about this. There's a hearing next Tuesday on the Community Action Partnership and Plan, the Community Action Plan, and this is brought forward by the Community Action Partnership. And this is we really want people to participate in this hearing because not only does it identify services, but it identifies money that will go to these services. So we have Lauren Suan-Supa and Denise Vien here from Social Services. Thanks very much for joining us on the briefing.
Thank you, Maya. So as Maya mentioned, we're Department of Social Services employees, and part of our responsibilities is also to serve in the capacity of supporting the Community Action Partnership, which is an agency within the Department of Social Services. So in my part-time work, also serve as the director for Monterey County Community Action Partnership. we every 2 years put together a plan which guides our funding for the Community Services Block Grant. This plan has several federal requirements that have us do an assessment over the community and the impacts of poverty, highlighting what poverty looks like in our community, and understanding what those who are living in poverty are identifying as their most pressing needs. So we have a public hearing scheduled for the 18th of May. It is in the afternoon session. So afternoon session begins at 1:30. What we're seeking is comments on our plan. The full plan was released at the beginning of this month, but we have provided a executive summary to just help make that full document a bit more digestible. The summary kind of shares a little bit about what community action Monterey County is composed of, its mission and vision, what poverty is as far as the definitions at the federal level, and what that experience looks like a little bit more in Monterey County, understanding causes and conditions and the impacts that COVID have had on those living in poverty throughout this time, where poverty exists in concentrations within our community, profiles of how poverty disparately impacts many communities, the experiences, as well as what we found through a needs assessment survey. So these top needs were what were the results of our needs assessment survey, identifying the services and supports that the community is seeking as the top priorities. So community action funding would be pressing out a request for proposals coming up later this summer to provide and fund services that address these needs for the 2022-2023 calendar years. So we will be seeking comments on, how well did this survey do? Are these needs in alignment with how people are experiencing? If there's additional needs that we missed that they'd like to share, all comments will be recorded and included as an addendum and submitted to the state in our final plan. So all comments will be considered and taken into account. Comments can be provided in a multitude of ways, online on our website, by email, in person at any one of our community providers. And those are, I think very common names in the community that people are familiar with, United Way being one of them, Community Human Services, Community Homeless Solutions, Gathering for Women, just to name a few, and all of those are partners in helping us gather this comment. So we really do invite the public to join us at the Board of Supervisors on May 18th to provide any additional comments. If you're not comfortable in speaking publicly, written comment is fine. Like I had mentioned, everything will be included and documented as part of that plan. Denise, anything to add in and share?
Yeah, I just we would like the community to know that the full community action plan is currently available on our website for review, and we're taking comments. We've been taking comments since we posted it, and we'll be taking comments through not just at the public hearing, but also through May 30th. So there's plenty of time for people to review the community action plan and provide public comments.
Yep, thanks. So just on that website, the full plan is about a 40-page document, as well as the executive summary form to be able to provide that comment, as well as a nice, simple place through a Survey Monkey. We really encourage, especially those who themselves are experiencing poverty, that is a required component that we capture if people are willing to share that with us, so that we can specifically identify direct input for our plan.
Thank you both very much for this. And if you would stay on the line in case we've got some questions for you afterwards. And now we've got Dr. Moreno on the briefing line for an update on COVID-19 topics. Good afternoon, Dr. Moreno.
Good afternoon, Maya. How are you doing?
I'm good. How about you?
All right, thanks. All right, hello everybody. So let's see. So as far as Ed Moreno, Monterey County Health Officer, Director of Public Health. So on the vaccine update, I just want to remind everyone that our vaccine allocations here in Monterey County, the percentage of individuals that have received at least one dose, broken down by age, broken down by race and ethnicity, and broken down by zip code, are all on our department website. Moving on, we estimate that about 63% of Monterey County residents have received at least one dose, and those are residents that are eligible, which includes currently 16 years of age and older. The update on the Pfizer vaccine is that the FDA on May 10th extended the eligibility for Pfizer vaccine to people who are 12 and older. So that adds the ages 12, 13, 14, and 15. Right now, the Advisory Committee on Immunization Practices is meeting, and they just voted to on the following recommendation that use of Pfizer vaccine in 12 to 15 age group. The Pfizer vaccine is recommended for persons 12 to 15 years of age under the FDA emergency use authorization. So that recommendation will go to the CDC, who is expected to make that a recommendation for all states. And as soon as CDPH verifies that they approve that use here in California, we can expect that vaccine providers will be offering that vaccine as well. So when that happens, the vaccines can be given to everyone 12 and older as soon as local appointments are opened up for that age group, and vaccine providers have Pfizer vaccine first dose vaccines available to give to those adolescents. Let's see. In terms of vaccines available for 12 to 15, I still suggest people go to our website, that's mcvaccinate.org, to look for opportunities to sign up for vaccines. And that's not just the Monterey County Health Department vaccine clinics, but most other clinics that we're aware of. Links to those vaccine clinics to sign up are also on our website. This age group represents about almost 24,000 individuals in Monterey County, and that represents about 5% of the county population. And some of the strategies that will be used here in California to vaccinate this age group would be to increase or make those vaccine clinic appointments available to that age group at our urgent care centers, pharmacies, primary care offices, mass vax clinics, and public clinics here in Monterey County. We're also, the California Department of Public Health and the California Medical Association are also encouraging pediatric providers throughout the state, including Monterey County, that aren't already enrolled with MyCAVax to complete the training, make sure they can meet the requirements to vaccinate teenagers against COVID, and then receive vaccine and begin to schedule appointments for teenagers. Moving on to the blueprint, based on California blueprint case rates and test positivity rates, the County of Monterey continues to be assigned to the orange tier. And as a reminder, Monterey County would need to meet yellow tier criteria for 2 consecutive weeks for the state to move the county to the yellow tier. And that's my update, Matt.
Thank you very much, Dr. Moreno. And I'm going to see if I can share my screen from here. I've got something from Diana Jimenez from our Department of Social Services. She couldn't join the briefing today, but she did want to let us know that the Great Plates Delivered program has been extended through June 7th. And I've got some detail about the program here. We've served 226,852 meals as of the beginning of May. And the program is currently serving over 300 seniors and an additional 80 seniors through the CARES Meal Program. New applications are being accepted. People can call 211 or 755-4447 to apply. And the local Great Plates program has provided over $5 million in economic stimulus to participating businesses. And I'm happy to share that slide with you. I can send it out or the information after the briefing. So that wraps up our presentations, and then I'm going to go ahead and get started with some of the questions that we have gotten in. And the first question is for you, Dr. Moreno. Since children need parental consent to get the COVID-19 vaccine, what is the guidance for schools who have parents who don't want to give consent for their children to get the vaccine? Also, are student athletes required to get vaccinated at middle and high school level in order to participate in sports?
Why don't you, if you could do me a favor, break up that question. And
I'm going to break up that question.
Yeah,
so let's start with guidance for schools who have parents who refuse to give consent for their children to get the vaccine.
What was the question though? I'm sorry.
So the question is, since children need parental consent to get the COVID-19 vaccine, what is the guidance for schools who have parents who refuse to give their consent for their children to get the vaccine?
Yeah, well, for that one, I can't speak for the school side. I recommend that parents have questions about vaccinated or unvaccinated students that they call their schools. Yeah.
And then the second part of that question was, are student athletes required to get vaccinated at the middle and high school level in order to participate in sports?
From what I've seen in the state guidance for youth sports, I don't see a requirement for students to get vaccinated.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And then I've got a question for Katie and Kelly, and you may have answered this in the chat, but I'm going to go ahead and ask it for the people who are with us on YouTube and Facebook. When is the cutoff for applications for the rental and utility assistance? I believe you have a certain amount of time to use the money.
Yes, thank you. There are different deadlines for the state and federal funds at present. So the state would like us to spend down the money by August 1st and the federal government by December 31st of this year. So we are really trying to accelerate spending and take care of that backlog of back rent. But we're planning on the program and funding being available through the end of 2021.
All right, thank you. And then back to you, Dr. Moreno, with a question, and I'll see if I can break this one up for you as well. You told the Board of Supervisors yesterday that one of the things Monterey County residents must do in order for the county to get into the yellow tier is to wear face coverings, even in situations where the state says you can remove your face covering. What situations would you be referring to, and why do you believe the state's mask guidelines, or do you believe the state mask guidelines are not adequate?
I think the state's guidance is well formulated, and I encourage everyone to follow the state guidance. There are instances where there are individuals who we know are still transitioning into fewer restrictions, and they feel more comfortable wearing masks. And I think if someone wants to wear a mask, even if they don't want to, and they make that decision, that's their decision. I support that decision.
All right, thank you. And another question for you. Some providers have begun to administer the Pfizer vaccine to 12 to 15-year-olds. And as you just mentioned, the FDA has given its approval, but the CDC and CDPH are forthcoming. Are providers jumping the gun on vaccinating this age group, and are there any consequences before providing vaccine to this age group before approval?
So I would just say that Public health recommends that local healthcare providers, vaccine providers, follow guidance from the California Department of Public Health. I can say that we anticipate that people will be able to get their kids, their adolescents, into vaccine appointments pretty soon. I just went to the state's My Turn website. That's where people can go to sign up for, to look for available appointments. And the My Turn vaccine website already has a statement saying that adolescents or individuals 12 and older can begin to schedule appointments beginning tomorrow. So it looks like the state is already anticipating that they will approve that by encouraging people to start looking tomorrow on the state's vaccine website to start looking for appointments for their teenagers.
And then a couple of additional parts of this question. Doesn't the Western States Scientific Safety Review Work Group also have to give approval for the vaccine for 12 to 15-year-olds?
Yeah, so typically the Western group does meet to make recommendations for the Western states. So I believe that they will also be meeting to review the ACIP's guidance as well.
And then the final part of this question, and you didn't answer it specifically, but when do you expect all agencies involved would give approval? Do you have any idea?
No, I don't. I'm not part of any of those advisory committees, so I don't know the details of when the final recommendations will be made.
Okay. And then another question for you. What does this week's increase in Monterey County's case rate mean about the spread of COVID-19 in our community? Are you seeing a significant reversal in the decrease in cases?
Thanks, Maya. So overall, the trend in Monterey County and the trend throughout California is a slow but steady decrease in the case rate. So case rates are reported by the state on a rolling week average. And so when we talk about trends, we're talking about points in time over a period of time. So over a period of time, the rate has been decreasing slowly. We will occasionally see bumps up and bumps down, dips and bumps and along the way, but overall the trend has been decreasing. So as long as we continue to do what we've been doing and more people get vaccinated, I'm hopeful that eventually Monterey County may meet the yellow tier criteria and move into the yellow tier.
All right, thank you. And then this is a follow-up question to the earlier question about masks, where you were indicating that if people wish to wear a mask, even if they don't have to, that you would support that. So the question is, so you were recommending people wear face masks in situations where the state says you can remove face coverings to make people who are not vaccinated feel comfortable. Why does that matter?
I'm not sure I understand the question. Can you read it again? Thanks.
Sure. So and this is a follow-up to the earlier question about face masks. So you were recommending people wear face masks in situations where the state says you can remove face coverings to make people who are not vaccinated feel comfortable. Why does that matter?
Thanks, Maya. I'm recommending that people in Monterey County follow the state guidance for face coverings, for gatherings, and for what fully vaccinated people can do.
All right. Are there any other additional questions? I have no more questions in chat. Are there any other additional questions, giving people a couple of seconds to throw anything in there? And I have no more questions, so that'll wrap up the briefing for today. Thanks everyone for taking part. We'll see you next week.
All right, bye, man.
Bye-bye.